And it looks like we're live. This is my second Facebook Live, and it's interesting trying to figure out all the little things that happen that either work right the first time or don't work right up until the last second before going live. But it looks like camera's working, audio's working, and I'm on chapter 2 of my book, Get Out the Door. I just posted the content this morning. And if you go to www.hollyworks.com, you can see the most recent chapter. And love to hear your comments. I would welcome feedback because I am writing this as I go. I have a chapter structure that I'm trying to stick to, but I also welcome feedback because, as I've heard a number of people say, books aren't written, they're rewritten. The hard work is actually in the editing and putting everything together. Hi, Eileen. Good to see you. And it's a challenge to try to stay ahead of the readers. Even though I've got 20 chapters in the book, I've got about 4 of them written right now. Today we're on chapter 2. And as soon as I get off of this video, I'm going to go back to chapter 3 and make sure that it's ready for next week. Then on to chapter 4, on to chapter 5. Hey, Sherry. Hey, Brad. Good to see you. And on to chapter 4 and chapter 5. And that's how I plan to get it done, is writing a chapter every week, or at least as many weeks as I can stay ahead. And then once I get it all done, work with an editor to try to make it coherent and hopefully valuable to the people who read it. So today's chapter is called Midlife Crisis, and it's the story about how when I was in my early 40s, I guess, I decided to go out and buy a motorcycle. I was wanting to do something exciting and something thrilling. So whereas some of my friends went off and bought Harley Davidson motorcycles and big, beefy cruiser bikes, I bought a Honda Rebel 250, which is about the smallest street legal bike you can have and still call it a motorcycle. So as I say in the blog post, I say I was born to be mild. But I was having fun learning how to ride the bike. Whenever I get into something, I tend to research the heck out of it and Google the heck out of it and YouTube the heck out of it, and not afraid to just jump into something. And sometimes that works out well. Sometimes that works out a little bit less than well. So in today's post, I'm asking people, is there something that you've always wanted to do? Whether it's to go skydiving or go on roller coasters or take up a new hobby or get on stage and speak or sing or whatever. What's stopping you? Because the only person that's usually stopping you is yourself. If you want to learn something, there's a way to learn how to do it. There are lots of people who've been down that path, who've had it tougher, and have learned a lot of the hard lessons that you won't have to learn because you can take advantage of their experience. Hey, Marilyn, good to see you. So I encourage you to, if there's something you want to do, get out there and do it. As we'll find out in the story, things don't always work out as planned, but that's just part of the story. A lot of the story is the journey from getting from here to there. And when I look back at everything that's happened in the last 15 years, I don't know that I would change things. I might try to do them a bit more smartly and with a little bit less drama, but I learned a lot of lessons going through that, and now I'm trying to capture those in the book and force myself to write. So that's what I'm working on right now. The good thing about this time of year, it's great weather, which is about the type of weather we were having when I decided to get the motorcycle. So I was out there every day in the beautiful spring weather learning how to ride. And it was fun just to zip around the neighborhood and learn to stop and start and get on the bike and learn to get my balance, which was a lot of fun. So other things that are going on here is learning how to do all the lighting here with Facebook Live, learning how to do a green screen, which I've got here behind me, and figuring out how to figure out what to say. when you go on a Facebook Live, because you guys are all out there and I'm talking to you, but right now it's a one-way conversation, and you do have to think on your feet to remember, okay, what do I want to say next? Is what I want to say next important? And one of the things I'm learning is not everything you say has to be life-changing or earth-shattering. It's try to engage people, try to get them thinking and talking, and working together, people come up with good ideas. So that's kind of where I am this week. For next week, I think I'm actually not even going to give away the title for next week, because that gives away a lot of what's happening in the book. But I do have that outlined, and as soon as I get off here, I will be going through that and putting it together. I'm excited about that, and excited about learning how to tell the story in a way to keep it interesting. So that's what I'm doing. I look forward to hearing your comments on hollyworks.com. If you want to comment on the Facebook thread, that's what that's here for. If you want to send me a direct message, that's fine too. I'm happy to get feedback of any kind to make sure that what I say eventually gets to be interesting. So, what things do you want to do? Have you ever thought about writing a book and telling your story? Because even if you think your story may not be interesting, it is your story and your experience, and nobody else has had that experience. So I encourage you to write it down, get in front of people and tell that story, because there are lots of lessons that people can learn from that. Mark Brown, who was the 1995 world champion of public speaking and Toastmasters, said, and I tend to live by this, is your life tells a story, and somebody out there needs to hear it. So even if you don't think it's interesting, your experience is valuable to somebody else, because somebody else is going through what you've been through before. And share what you've learned, share your lessons and your experience, and they'll benefit from it. And hey, Barbara, good to see you. And as you tell that story, you'll get better at telling it. And there are lots of places to learn how to do that. If you're interested in finding more about Toastmasters or some of the storytelling groups that I've been involved with, message me offline. I'd be happy to share that information with you. And I'm looking forward to telling you the next chapters of this story as it goes. It has been 15 years since all this happened, but the story doesn't end with any one chapter. In fact, it's still being written. And I'm looking forward to sharing that with you and recreating that experience, so that if other people have gone through similar situations, that they'll be able to benefit from that experience. So that's pretty much it for a Monday night. I appreciate everybody coming by and saying hi and joining me. If you have comments, put them in the thread below. I'll be happy to respond to them offline. Go to hollyworks.com and you'll see the latest chapter. And next Monday, I'll be coming back here again to tell you the latest chapter for chapter 3 of Get Out the Door. So I've got chapter 1, the introduction, chapter 2, which is called Midlife Crisis, and chapter 3, which is coming next week. So thanks everybody for coming out. Look forward to talking to you next week. Connect with me here on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or on my blog at hollyworks.com. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next week.